Drum roll, please.
Brrr, bing.
Stone Roses.
Awesome.
Spike Island gig, 1990.
10-story love song.
Yes. This was their first album that didn't have 10-story love song on it. The 10-story love song was on Second Coming.
I know.
See, I know that much. No, Spike Island gig. Okay, the Stone Roses were the biggest band in the UK from 1989 to about 1991. Right? They had major hits. Made of Stone, She Bangs the Drums, I Want to Be Adored, Fool's Gold.
Right.
They were successes, not just in the UK, but they were starting to get like a little bit of traction over in America. So, you know, it was unusual at that time for British music to get radio play in the United States.
A little bit, yes.
Especially on the alternative scene, because the alternative scene in the late 80s, early 90s in America was off the chart.
Right.
You know, you couldn't say anything at it. So they announced their British tour, and they booked a place called Spike Island. The gig was supposed to take place on May 27th of 1990.
Okay.
Now, why is this gig important? Because according to all attendees,
right,
it was nothing great. It was just a gig. They had sound issues. It was raining. But why are we talking about it? Because the Spike Island gig is one of the most significant gigs in British music history. Because the mid-90s music scene showed up to that show as fans.
Yeah.
And then they were either inspired to start a band or inspired to work with bands.
Right.
Or, you know, you had, for example, Johnny Marr, legendary guitarist of the Smiths.
Yep.
He was just there as a fan. The guys from Oasis, they showed up separately, it might be said. Even though they knew each other, they all showed up separately.
Right.
They were there. Band called The Real People, who they were there. Jarvis was there.
So the common people arrived.
Common people arrived, yes. I think I didn't confirm this, but I think the guys from Suede were there as well. Fabulous. So everybody who started that mid-90s Britpop movement
was at Spike
Island. It did leave a stamp on the British music scene. I mean, a lot of people become megastars and say this is where it started. Because after this, for example, let's use Oasis as an example. After this show, Tony McCarroll, Paul Arthurs, and Paul McGuigan got together and started a band called The Rain.
Yes.
The Rain was pre-Oasis. Right. Because what happened is they kicked the lead singer out because he... In the book, Getting High by Pablo Hewitt, they said that he kicked the original singer out because they were doing the Trogs Wild Thing. And Gwigsy, the bass player, got offended that he was singing Wild Thing, Smoke a Draw, and this dude had never smoked anything in his life. And that mildly offended the mild-mannered...
So because he was singing about pot
and not partaking in it, he had to go, and they replaced him with...
He was a hypocrite.
He was a hypocrite. So they replaced him with their friend Noel's little brother.
Yeah.
And the rest, as they say, is history. And Noel
it's not history, it's Nebworth.
There you go.
Ahead.
There you go. See? We'll get to that here in a few minutes. Noel Gallagher met a guy called Mark Coyle, and they started offering their services to bands and ended up roadieing for the Inspiral Carpets. So, you know, it was seen as the starting point of the revival of the British rock music scene.
Right.
Because it was stale after the mid-80s, you know.
Right.
I mean, the Jam had broken up. The Smiths weren't really rock. They were something.
Right.
And they were good, but they weren't necessarily rock.
Right.
You know. And the Roses, well, what happened to the Stone Roses? Because we talk about the Britpop scene and we never talk about the Stone Roses.
Ian Brown started stirring tea at the Leaky Cauldron.
Yes. If you watch Harry Potter, in the third movie, the guy's stirring tea.
With his finger.
With his finger. Apparently he's been voted the strongest wizard in the Harry Potter universe because he's doing magic without a wand.
Yes.
So,
wandless, yes.
So there you go. It's a hard one. Now, what happened to the Stone Roses is they finished the tour and they wanted to do their second album.
Yes.
But the record label got involved and they had a major lawsuit that lasted 5 years. So instead of releasing a follow-up in 92, maybe 93 at the latest, they were out of it until 95.
And that was a bit... It was a whole different scene then.
It was a whole different scene, and people had forgotten who the Roses were. I mean, not forgotten, but it was.
The fan base had moved on.
Yes, because then you had the Britpop scene and the shoegaze scene.
Yeah.
And everything like that. Because, like I said, by the time they got back, it was Suede, Pulp Blue, Oasis, The Verve.
Right.
And
but
one of my favorite named band, Ned's Atomic Dustbin.
Yes. Yes.
No, they weren't huge, but I just wanted to say that live.
Right.
So, but this was an important show, especially in the psyche of the British rock music scene.
Well, that and 90% of Britpop frontmen also owed Ian Brown their haircut.
Oh yeah, the haircut and the swag.
Yes, because that whole arms to the side, leaning up to the microphone,
snarling into it.
Yeah, with the shaggy like. I had my hair cut 8 months ago, but I can't. I can't
bear to cut it.
Yeah,
my hair basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
or at least your hair when we met.
My hairstyle hasn't changed that much over the years. Now I'm being made to cut it every couple of months.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Although there was a point where I didn't cut my hair for 2 years and I had the Jesus look.
Yeah, that was kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
I liked it anyway.